The Tron legacy and their franchise might be one of the most interesting franchises in film. It's had its movies and cartoon adventures, and it definitely has a large gap from movie to movie in terms of quality. Gone are the days of wondering if a third movie will be made. According to online rumors, a third movie will be produced, and although I love the Tron movies, I've been kind of fatigued by hearing discussions regarding whether or not Tron should get a third Tron movie. This news of Tron 3 might be the thing that launches me back into that fandom. It is important to note that a third installment to a famous franchise must have the right elements and act to be a successful movie. Meaning each element and actor of the third movie must have a unique hook that is different from the other movies and cartoon stories of Tron to satisfy a movie audience. I have many ideas on how Tron 3 should be produced, but what seems most likely given what is shared online is that the line between the real world and the grid will be shattered to the point where a war will happen between humans who live in the real world and programs from the grid. If I were the Disney producers of Tron, I would follow the template that they set up for the Tron character of Korra. Yes, a program from the grid was brought into the real world by the character Sam Flynn, but before Korra could reveal how she is the ultimate answer to everything, the movie ends. The Tron Stories has an incredible roster of members as well as story ideas, but I think it would only be natural that we start with the actors and actresses of the story that should be included in Tron 3 and slowly discuss what the story of Tron 3 should look like. This episode will first start with Tron characters Sam Flynn, followed by Korra, Tron, Jem, a new addition to the roster, and the macro view from 3,000 feet ceiling level. Now, let's talk about the future movie Tron 3. First up, we have Sam Flynn, who is the second person to travel from the real world to the grid. The story of Tron did a decent job creating a character that has all the characteristics of the late Kevin Flynn, who was played by Jeff Bridges, who was the first human traveler to the grid in the Tron 3 movies. I actually enjoyed Gary Hoodlin's performance as Sam Flynn from beginning to end, and I think with a significant character like that, which has many connections to both his dad's company, and Tron's creator, makes it hard to accept that he should not be in Tron 3. In Tron 3, I could see the character Sam Flynn coming into his own by running a military group into the grid to fight the programs planning to invade the real world. I could see the character Sam Flynn, after witnessing the death of his father from the previous film, wanting to take responsibility of Encom while protecting Korra, who is a member of the Tron stories. Like his father Kevin Flynn, Sam Flynn has qualities people identify with, like rebellious behavior, courageous attitude, and quick thinking. I want to see those qualities in Tron 3, so Gary Hedlund for Tron 3. I feel the character's evolution from impulsive young adolescent to corporate leader will be a big plus for Tron 3. Next up is Korra, who is the only program to leave the grid to live in the real world. I don't mind that the Disney producers chose to leave the character of Korra's abilities unexplored, but for the movie Tron 3, those powers need to be seen on full display, because online rumors state that a war is coming between people on the grid and people of the real world. I also think that the opinions some have about a possible romantic relationship between Korra and Sam could be explored in Tron 3, but Korra should become a solution between humans and programs. Since actress Olivia Wilde has many projects on her itinerary, I doubt we'll see her return to the role of Korra. Don't get me wrong, actress Olivia Wilde is a fine actress, but information online suggests that she will be too busy directing the first live-action MCU movie of Spider-Woman. I think actress Summer Gall is the perfect woman to replace Olivia Wilde. She plays everything in the wheelhouse that this character would need. She plays that soft, warmer side with a gentle nature, and when she needs to be tough, she can play a real badass. Look no further than the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series. She really sold me on that transition between harmless human and Terminator, which is really tough. I think Summer Gall could absolutely nail Korra for Tron 3 and everything in between with this character. It's her acting ability that really gets her this role for me, so Summer Gall as Korra. Next up, we have Tron. I really liked how Tron was portrayed in the cartoons with the cool suit that distinguishes him as a different program from everyone else. But in my opinion, he lacked an advantage or quality in Tron Legacy that separates him from every other program. I think that Tron needs an upgrade or new ability aside from good fighting skills and 2 disc. Tron requires something in between, a morphing of the Tron versions from the cartoons, the live-action movies, and something significant that connects him back to Korra. I enjoyed the 80s version of Tron played by Bruce Boxner, but his age became a factor in the cartoons, which led to the introduction of Beck. In anticipation for this video, I decided to focus on an actor that could be Beck. The character of Beck is someone who is wise, a friend to the original Tron, a person anyone could rely on. I want him to be a cultural influence on people or programs, and capable of fighting, but only as a last result. I went with actor Dylan O'Brien. I think he matches the demeanor of the character perfectly, but it also fits into that friendlier quality of Beck. He can play that physicality as we've seen in American Assassin, but he can also play friendlier characters. He really has a vast filmography. He's shown so much range in stories like Teen Wolf and Maze Runner. I think he could be that next Tron, where we're back to an average character capable of blending or hiding in between the crowd of characters. So, Dylan O'Brien for Beck or Tron in Tron 3. Next up, we have the interesting character of Jem. Yes, Jem is an uncommon choice because she was not the lead character in Tron Legacy during her appearance there, but I enjoyed her character even though it was small compared to other Tron-related characters. The best way to describe Jem is that of a seductive backstabber with questionable loyalties. Since Tron Legacy showed the destruction of the villain Clue, another familiar villain needs to take his place. And if they were going to show us a war between humans and villains, there has to be a villain in it that we love to hate. This villain needs to be seductive to the extent of provoking a war, cruel, and have no honor. I've always liked the role of backstabber since Tron 2 because of the simplicity which differentiates from the character Korra, who is a heroic person. It would be interesting to see Jem evolve into a character that leads a war on multiple fronts while feeding hatred and jealousy everywhere. I think Bo Garrett would really do well reprising her role as Jem. Her character really hooked me in Tron Legacy. Bo Garrett's former role on the TV series House playing a psychopath really sold me on the idea that Bo Garrett could take the Jem character into new dark eras of entertainment. It would be challenging for Bo Garrett to perform at the same level she played in Tron Legacy given her age, but it is an opportunity to see her elevate that character. What needs to happen with Jem in Tron 3 is to see her make an aggressive political move for power by killing someone important. I could see Bo Garrett selling people on her character becoming the ultimate threat to peace. So, Bo Garrett as Jem. Next up is the issue of who will be Jem's wingman or wing girl while she's leading a war against humans. In Tron Legacy, Jem had the Sirens as friends, which appeared more like side characters for Jem, but they don't appear to be the muscle she needs to beat Tron. In keeping up with traditions of the Tron stories, Master Control's wingman was Sark, Clue's wingman was Tron, and Jem's wing girl should be played by actress Ruby Rose. The challenging part for a villain wing girl is that she will have to appear on the same physical level of Tron, and that is why I went with Ruby Rose. She's been a part of some projects that had questionable endings. I won't deny that, but it's her John Wick 2 that really shows what she can do. Okay, she lost that fight, but she was tough, had protective bodyguard skills, and dangerous hand-to-hand combat abilities. She showed how she can be tough without saying a word, so Ruby Rose as Jem's unknown wing girl. Lastly, in keeping up with this show's traditions, I want to talk about the unresolved issues of Tron to suggest a crossover. Finding issues with a great story is one of the hardest things to do while suggesting a crossover. I could watch a Tron movie or cartoon that I already seen without making any sarcastic comments because it's a good story. But since my videos are crossovers, I will say that the first issue I see with the Tron stories is that it has one too many unresolved issues. First, how does a program become free of human manipulation like Master Control? Second, why are living programs actively choosing to play games users created to kill each other? Finally, the 3,000-foot question. How is it possible for a living program born on the grid to exist in the real world? And how could humans transport to the grid? Between the two movies and one season cartoon, these questions have not been answered in a coherent way. The Kevin Flynn character, played by actor Jeff Bridges, suggested that his disc on the grid was the magic ticket back home. Now, after watching all of the Tron stories repeatedly several times, I've come to the conclusion that Kevin Flynn was speaking metaphorically to avoid giving answers to questions he was unsure about. I don't think Jeff Bridges said magic ticket to suggest a crossover or Easter egg to movies like Seventh Son or Harry Potter, like some people believe. Due to the unresolved mysteries with Tron, I subjectively conclude that the idea is to cross over Tron with Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica and Tron have similar themes like technology and conflict with humanity, teleportation, and virtual digital reality environments. When I look at the timelines, I can see that the stories of Battlestar Galactica begins before the 1980s, while Tron stories start after 1982. And if Battlestar Galactica was framed to suggest that the programs of Tron exist due to the actions of the characters in Battlestar Galactica, it would fit based on the timelines of both stories and the location, which is Earth. This concludes my video for today. As always, let me know how you feel about my suggestions by placing your comments, thoughts, and questions down below.